Okay, welcome to video number 5. In video number 5, we're going to go over some of the enrichment activities or supplementary activities. The way the materials that you'll receive in your binder will be set up is those 5 core elements that we've been through, the discovery template, Snakester, going into Matchster, Faxter, and Shipster. Those games will be done by times tables, so you'll have all of those for the 5 times table, then all of those for the 2 times table, and it'll go through all of the times tables. However, after that, there are some materials towards the back of your packet that will be things that you can use whenever you feel necessary. I'm going to demonstrate a few of those. The first one is this. This is a do now. Do nows will have numbers at the top. For the 5 times table, there's a 5-1 and a 5-2. And the way that they work is they are all related to the 5 times table. So for example, this one says identify, and you have 4 groups of 5, so 4 times 5, 20. This one has 2 groups of 5, which are 10. Then it says multiply by 5, and we're going to have, you look at the 9, and if you multiply it by 5, you get 45. Multiply by 3, you get 15. So what I'm going to do is jump ahead to the next screen and show you what this looks like. Okay? Here's what it would look like. When I have students do it, they're given this do now sheet, which has all the problems, and then they take a piece of loose leaf and they write the following. They write do now, just 5-1, just like it says, and then they write the word identify. Then next to it, they look at the picture up here and they say, oh, that's 4 groups of 5 or 20, and they write the fact. 4 times 5 is 20. Then 2 times 5 is 10. They get to the next row, they write the direction, multiply by 5. But instead of writing the 9 up here, they put the answer. So multiply by 5, if the number's 9, then the answer is 45. So they write that. Then they write times 3, 15, times 7, 35, times 2, 10. And they write the answers all the way across. Then they write the words how many sides. Now looking up here, it says how many sides on 3 pentagons, which pentagons have 5 sides, so 3 5s are 15, so they'll write 15. 6 pentagons is 6 times 5 are 30. 45, go to the next one. It says fill in, and they just tell me the number that's missing. 25 blank, 15, looks like we're missing our 20. 35, this one's going up. 35 blank, 45, we're missing our 40. So they fill those in, and then the last one's just say solve, so the students write solve. Up there it says 3 times 5, so we write 15. Up above it says 6 times 5, so we write 30. And then students do this. This could be used as an in-class activity. This could be used for homework. This could be used verbally. I've had classes where every student is holding one of these sheets and the first student says, do now, 5-1, and they're looking up here. Identify, and then they look at it and they say out loud, 4 times 5, 20. And the next kid looks at this picture and says, 2 times 5, 10. The next kid says, multiply by 5, and then yells out, 45. The next student says 15. Next student says 35. And so that would be done verbally. I never let any student sit there struggling if they don't know the answer. I say it out loud for them. If they say the wrong answer, I say correction and the right answer and keep it moving along. Other times I've had kids and I say, does anyone want to try to beat me? So what I do is I do it verbally out loud and I say, do now, 5-1, identify, 4 times 5, 20, 2 times 5, 10, multiply by 5, 45, 15, 35, 10, 40, and I go through the whole puzzle. And let's say it takes me, I don't know, 46 seconds. What I say to the kids, who wants to challenge me? Who wants to see who can do it the fastest? And kids, I've literally had kids that went home and studied this sheet and practiced it and memorized it so that they could do it as fast as possible. And sometimes I'll give them some kind of reward if they're able to do it under a certain time. And it just makes it something that, a teacher or even I think of as, kind of work-like, and then it becomes fun with the kids. But again, no, I don't make them sit there not knowing. There's no, I don't use this as a torture device. It's to try to help kids. The next one, This is called a Seekster puzzle, and the way the Seekster works is you can look up above. Let me grab a pen, show you how it works. I'm going to grab a marker. Okay, it's a Seekster puzzle, and it says version 5.0. That means you're using the 5 times table. The answers to the 5 times table are in here. So what are they? 5, 10, 15, 20. So that's 5. Somewhere on here is F-I-V-E. 10, T-E-N is on here. 15, F-I-F-T-E-E-N is on here. And what you're going to do is the kids go around and find all 10 facts from 5 up to 50. So let's show you. Here's 25. I don't do any diagonals. I only do up and down and sideways. Here's 40 going backwards, F-O-R-T-Y. Here's 5 over here. You know, you get the idea. I go around and find them. Now I'm going to jump to the next screen. Ta-da, I'm done. Okay, now here's how it works. Here's the board. I'm done now. I found all 10 answers. And what happens is it leaves a hidden message. If you start at the top left with the letter D, next letter that's available is O. That forms the word do. Then you go Y-O-U. That's do you. K-N-O-W. Do you know? W-H-I-C-H. Which. And the sentence goes, do you know which month that Americans celebrate Thanksgiving? Okay, there are some letters at the end that you don't use, but the message goes along. Do you know the month which Americans celebrate Thanksgiving? And then if you know that, too fat, sorry about that. Let me grab a skinnier pen. But of course, you and I know that the answer that we celebrate Thanksgiving is, of course, November. So there's the exact number of spaces for N-O-V-E, forgive my handwriting, M-B-E-R. And the idea is students would go through and they would find all of the answers for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And then that would give them a message, and then every puzzle has a different message, but then they fill in the answer so they know they got it. Okay, and then another supplementary activity is this. The students tend to really enjoy playing the snake game. So the sad part is the one that I give you has, one solution. So what I have done is in your packet, I've provided you with a blank snake game. And what I've had students do as a supplementary activity sometimes is they create their own activity. So they would go like this. All right, it has to start in the top row with a 5. It's got to go 5, 10, maybe it goes sideways a little, 15, 20, let's go down, 25, 30, forgive me for being so slow, 35, let's say it starts heading back this way, 40, 45. So this is what the students would do. They would go through and they would make a route that works. So 45. Forgive my handwriting, 40, 35, 30, and then we could 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, and let's say they end up down here at 5. What they first do is they make one route that works. Then they want to fill in the rest of the board with numbers in the 5 times table that don't work. So let's say it goes 5, 10, 15, down to 20. Now, from 20, you would need to get to 25. So if I wanted it to work, I'd put a 25 either next to it on either side or below. But I don't want it to work. So I'm going to put like a 15 here, maybe a 30 over here, and a 35 right there. So what will happen is if a future player starts and they go this way by accident, they'll go 5, 10, 15, 20, and then they'll be stuck. And they'll continue playing until they can find the right route, which is the way that works. Now, what I've had students do before is they neatly make one of these, and then they exchange with each other, and they say who, they put it in a sheet protector, and they say see who can solve the other person's quicker. Whoever solves the other person's first wins. Or, as a teacher, you could just take them and photocopy a few of the good ones, and then you have extra copies of the snake game, which they can play. It is a game that students like. And if you had at least 5 or 6 or 7, you could keep giving out the same games forever. They would know which one it was, and they would continually practice, and that could turn into a fun activity. So those are some supplementary activities that you can use. Let me go back through them real quick. You have the do nows, which can be done verbally or they can be written. I would suggest this. If you're going to do them written, like this, remember down here, I would suggest you do one in class. You have them fill it out on loose leaf, maybe have their name and their class and the date up here, then actually fill it out so you can make sure they know how to do it correctly. Then you can assign it for homework or classwork later. Then we did the Seekster game, which is just finding the words. It will help them practice their spelling. And that always reveals a hidden answer, and that way you know they got it right. And then I gave you a blank snake game so that students could make more if they chose to. Okay, why can't I stop this one? There we go.